Oh, well, I wish I would have known that. You guys should hear me a little better now. How am I sounding? I apologize about not getting the audio up sooner. Meteorologist Jeremy Kappell with you, watching again some strong to severe thunderstorms in the Chicago area. Severe thunderstorm warnings do continue. I will say that this storm, though, is now beginning to really feel the effects of the lake. Hopefully, it reduces the chance that we had a touchdown, at least in central Chicago or just south of town. It is south of town where we were looking at some extremely ugly radar images just a short time ago. Really caught my attention, and decided to come back from our little adventure this afternoon. We were out taking the kids to Memorial Park earlier, and then we saw this on our mobile radar, and that's just a very, very ugly signature that came down near the city of Oak Forest. I want to know if you guys have heard of any damage near Oak Forest. That would be south of Palos Heights, maybe near the Robbins area. That would be north of Tinley Park. Again, Oak Forest, I know, is a populated suburb, but there was just a really, really nasty looking radar image that came in from there. That is somewhere in the order of about 180 mile per hour, almost gate to gate shear.
So is this something that needs to be mentioned?
Tornado warning from your, okay, is in effect now. What county are we talking about? Because there are more active tornado warnings, and I wanted to go over to that. I just wanted to make sure Chicago was in the clear before I would let you guys go. So about 17 people on here right now. We did get the mic up. Thank you for being here. Audio is back. Great. That's coming in from Maria. Appreciate you. And Cheryl Evans, she said, yeah, she can hear us now. That's good. Audio does help. I know that's a fact. So
it's talking about tornado warning for Mercer and Henry counties in Illinois.
Yep. And I'm going to go back to that. I wanted to stick with Chicago for just another minute because, again, it's a very dangerous looking storm. It's not tornado warned at the moment. There was a tornado warning earlier. The current warning, this is the wording from the National Weather Service. Severe thunderstorm warning. This is for southern Cook and northern Lake counties. It goes until 3:45, so about another 35 minutes or so Central Time for a storm capable of producing 60 mile per hour winds and some sizable hail as well. So that's the primary storm that we've been tracking, but there are other storms that are firing up to the west with circulations associated with them. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this one for you. Again, this is from the radar out of Chicago. That's a tornado warning. This is for south or northeastern Henry and southwestern Bureau counties. That is a severe thunderstorm with the potential of a tornado associated with that. This is a radar indicated tornado. So this storm looks like it's moving pretty swiftly off to the east. Let me check in with the I'm gonna switch over to the Davenport radar to get a little better look of this storm. It's a little bit closer to it. So you've got not one but two tornado warnings just east of Davenport. Davenport, you're not under a warning. The second warning further to the south. This is in east central Mercer and southwestern Henry counties. Those are, again, tornado warnings, but I got to be honest, that one for Henry County doesn't look like it's a really healthy looking storm. That is set to expire not until 3:45, so we've got about another 35 minutes on that as well. The supercell that is near Walnut, let me take a closer look at that. That is Tampico, name of town that it's close to. And let me put get some storm relative motion on here for you. Give you an idea of what the winds are doing, and also it'll give us a better gauge as to whether there's actually a tornado occurring. You keep in mind, just because you have a tornado warning doesn't mean you actually have a tornado on the ground. But sometimes it can be. Certainly you want to take your precautions regardless, because that means the Weather Service believes that the conditions have come together for there to be a good chance that one is occurring. All right, and I'm going to take it over to the latest. Here we go. So I should have that storm motion now on here. That'll be adjusted. And taking a look at some of the winds associated with this. I'm going to go over to straight velocity, make sure I'm not missing anything. But, you know, overall, that signature, it's definitely spinning, but I don't, this is not, it's not terribly organized at the moment. But the entire area underneath that tornado watch, and you can see tornado watch does extend from all of northern Indiana, make that north central, northwestern Indiana. It does include areas just to the north of Indianapolis, including Lafayette, West Lafayette, that's my alma mater. Chicago, again, experiencing severe thunderstorms right now, with more severe weather developing to the west with the 2 tornado warnings that we're concerned with. Let's check in with our YouTube friends here. We've got Maria. Please tell me, how are things at Oak Lawn? And that's that area where we were very concerned about the potential of a tornadic rotation earlier in the south side of Chicago. You're asking about Oak Lawn. It was Oak Forest was the area that I was concerned with. Where is Oak Lawn at? Do you want to look that up? Let me just Google search. Is that Chicago there? No, that's Indianapolis seeing some thunderstorms too. Parts of Indiana currently underneath that tornado watch. What are you seeing over there, hon?
Tornado warning continues for Henry County, Illinois.
Henry County, Illinois, underneath that tornado warning. Okay.
Let's take cover now.
Okay.
It continues. Oh wait, that's still 3:45. There's nice size hail in Lamont.
Okay.
And then severe weather is rampaging through the Windy City currently as heavy rain and gusty winds make it on a tough time for cooking on the grill.
It is. That's what everybody wants to be doing right now, but instead
I guess there's not a lot of that going on.
We're dealing with these thunderstorms. Just terrible, nasty, nasty storms. The one again that came into Chicago a little while ago. It was as nasty a signature as I have seen, and it was literally within the city limits, and that's what really grabbed my attention. All right, looks like there's a new tornado warning that's being issued. Actually, it looks like we've got, is it 2 or 3? I think we are down to 2 tornado warnings. Let me go ahead and they've rewarned this, so, and I've got to bring up my other Weather Service chat. This is coming out of, is it Davenport? There's a tool on here. If you click right there.
Here?
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to say it's Davenport, but I'm not 100% certain. We'll be able to get some new information coming in for the Weather Service in a moment. In the meantime, I want to get that storm relative motion back on here. Okay, and this is going to help us with, should help us with our velocity measurements. With that strong thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. This is in from the National Weather Service just moments ago. Tornado warning continues for southeastern Whiteside County. Southeastern Whiteside County, northwestern Bureau County. That's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located over Tampico or 13 miles southwest of Rock Falls, moving east at about 35 miles per hour. So if you guys are being impacted by that, I want you guys to make sure you're taking your shelter. Do that now. Do that while you're thinking about it. I'm going to pull up my YouTube channel so I can monitor comments over here as well.
Let's see. Large hail shredding trees and pounding backyards in Naperville.
In Naperville?
This is about ping pong ball size.
Now that's where the Sveta family lives.
That's what I was going to say. That looks familiar, that city.
Naperville, it's a very sizable suburb on the southwest side. I'll be able to show you some images from that coming up as well in just a few minutes. We'll have that. Okay, so I've got Chicago Ridge checking in. Ridgeland Avenue flooded and blocked by emergency vehicles at about 103rd Street. Trees down, power out, basements are flooded. Again, that's MR Chicago Ridge on here. Thank you for checking in, and we appreciate you all being here. You know, with such serious weather impacting such a major metropolitan area, I thought it was important to pop on. We'll see where this goes. I'm kind of assessing everything on the fly. I've been out and about with my family all day, and then I got a message from our friend Jack Allen. He said, you might want to look at Chicago right now. And when I came on, I was pretty shocked to see what I was looking at as far as the intensity of the storm that was making its way through the city itself. By the way, the severe thunderstorm warning does continue for Chicago. It's to the west where we now have additional tornado warnings that are being issued. And so that's the, again, this is northwestern Illinois, where we are seeing signs of supercells that are developing, and this one really showing quite a bit of rotation. And so this is the most concerning of the storms. Again, located near Tampico or Deer Grove. Now, that is there's some open territory here, so the population is not as great. So I did want to make our way back into Chicago and get an update for our friends there. Honey Badger on here. Kappell, you look like someone I used to spar with. No, I'm not a kickboxer. I've got Jack Allen on here, and Jack, he'll help me moderate. Jack, thanks for stopping by, and thanks for the heads up. We were debating on what time we wanted to come on today, but that storm that rolled through Chicago, my goodness, did that have a nasty signature associated with that. I'm happy to say that the south suburbs have been released from the severe thunderstorm warning over Chicago, so that's good. So Gary, that's a severe thunderstorm warning for you, Gary, Indiana. So you guys want to take your precautions, make sure you're in the interior portion of a sturdy structure. And a lot of people are trying to cook out right now. But we want to urge you again to continue to take precaution for the possibility of damaging winds to 60 miles per hour. So this is for northern Lake County in northwestern Indiana. It does include Gary, Highland, Griffith, Hobart, Maryville. That's a severe thunderstorm warning for you. Looking at some of the velocity signatures on here. And it's not the strongest that we've seen, but we're still looking at winds of 50 to 60 mile per hour, a short distance above the main body of that supercell thunderstorm. Now over the cold waters of Lake Michigan, should completely destroy the storm, but it's left outflow boundaries. And when I say outflow, that's wind that's been generated from that storm. It's now beginning to propagate on the southwest side of the city. So if you do live out here near maybe the airport, maybe Naperville, we're seeing more thunderstorm development. Again, that's on the previous from that initial storm that came through with just a tremendous amount of low-level circulation. Earlier, when we were in the car, we got the text from Jack, and Jack's on here, by the way. Say hello to Rochester, New York News and Television Archive. Maybe you guys can give him a follow, or if you haven't already, he kind of gave me the heads up that Chicago was seeing a just horrible thunderstorm, and at the time it was tornado warned. This is what it looked like. And the signature that popped on my radar, could not believe it. Let me go back.
Is it still looking strong?
No, well, it's over Lake Michigan, and it's completely dying, which is great.
Okay.
But again, we're kind of assessing the damage, what occurred, again, south side of Chicago a little while earlier. Let me go back over to my velocity. This is what it looked like. And I'm going to put storm relative motion on this. But that's the signature that really got my attention. And right there, where you've got that hot pink, that is wind of 66 miles per hour, but you go to the other side, that's 100, almost 100.
Oh, wow.
So right there, you're getting this, there it is, 101 miles per hour. So you're getting this air that's rotating at about 170 mile per hour, and that's almost gate to gate. So that really got my attention. So I want to know what happened in Oak Forest. Is that Midlothian? If anybody knows somebody from down there, I'd love to know what happened. Weather Service, they allowed the tornado warning to expire, and you can see that storm as it's now moved over Lake Michigan. So the cold lake waters will just kill it. It's just going to kill it, but we still have ingredients that are favorable for more supercell thunderstorms. There is an enhanced risk of severe weather that remains in effect across much of the Midwest. So our friends there in Chicago, the threat's not over.
Okay.
Hopefully you were spared. Hopefully you didn't see significant damage. And MR back on here. He's bringing in some information. I appreciate that. He says lots of hail, pea-sized when I got to it, but likely when it came down. I haven't seen hail damage, but I haven't checked the parking lot yet, he says. And then, what's Jack talking about West Bloomfield? Do we have a request for West Bloomfield? Okay. Oh, okay. So that's where Jack's at. He's in West Bloomfield.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Got you. And then MR says he'll check Oak Forest. And yeah, appreciate that very much. If you don't mind, let us know what's happening out there. Still watching significant severe weather occurring. New tornado warning now being issued as well. That's for that storm a little bit further east, or excuse me, to the west.
Is this?
And this is a confirmed tornado. This is coming up from Williamsfield.
Okay.
And there's the warning information on that. What do you see? Tornado warning for Marshall, Stark, Knox, and Peoria counties. And let's see if that's the same one. It is.
Is it the same one?
So that's a tornado warning. It looks like a developing.
There was a confirmed one on the ground.
That's what this is. This
Okay.
is for a confirmed tornado warning. Northwestern Marshall, Stark County, East Central Knox County, Northwestern Peoria County in central Illinois until 4 p.m. Central Time. So that's going to run for about 35 minutes. There's a circulation very close to Williamsfield, and I'm looking at somewhere in the order of about 90 mile per hour effective shear. About 80 or 90. So this is a storm we'll be watching for you again. Confirmed tornado coming in, and I'm still. Did you get that website up? Hit that for me real quick.
This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you need?
I wanted to see which office is issuing that for. So that's either DVN or ILX. So I think is that Lincoln? Central Illinois Forecast Office. It is Lincoln. So let's see if I can pull their information up on our live chat. We have a live communications with the National Weather Service. I want to make sure that I've got the right field office up. And that's just IL. Is it ILX? Okay, so we've got that up. So there's the actual tornado warning observed. That was issued at 4:21, so about 4 minutes ago. We'll come back, we'll check that storm. Again, we're seeing the rotation with it, doesn't look great. And then we take a broader view with our other radar source, the Kappell cast, if you will. And I want to show you that we've got storms, also a severe thunderstorm. This is located between Indianapolis and Muncie in Indiana. It's north of the Interstate 70 corridor, tracking the development of these storms up near Chicago. Again, the one potentially tornadic a little while earlier in the south side of Chicago. And now, again, the new severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings that are occurring across the west central portions of the state. putting all this into motion, you can kind of get an idea of everything's moving from west to east. They've got a broad tornado watch. The actual watch includes most of northwestern Indiana, all of northern Chicago, with the exception of the northernmost row of counties, and it does extend into southeastern Iowa, including the Davenport area. So let's see what they are saying out of, again, this is ILX, Lincoln, Illinois, their forecast office. They're going to continue with that confirmed tornado warning that goes until 4 p.m. Central. And there is one other office I wanted to check out. That was, I believe, Davenport. Was it DVN?
Yeah, if you need this one.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what their call letters are. These are Davenport. It's the Quad Cities is probably what it's going to be under. There it is. Okay, so we're joining that in progress. Tornado warning does continue for Bureau, Whiteside. That's Bureau and Whiteside counties until 3:45. Reason we're on here is again just the amount of concerning weather that we were seeing in and around the city of Chicago. That's the main reason we decided to jump on. We were looking at some really bad, really ugly looking radar signatures, and we thought it was worth watching while Chicago is continuing to see some pretty rough weather. New strong to severe thunderstorms are forming on the southwest side of the city right now. That would include near Naperville, where we did get some pictures in. Let me pull that up if I can find that. Again, some video, some pretty good hail and some wind damage that was within the city limits of Chicago. Also getting quite a bit of flooding, and then let's pull this up on our, this is coming in from Twitter, and I don't have that up for you yet, do I? I'm going to come right back to that.
Where's that at?
This is 97th Street to 95th Street in Hickory Hills. So let me know if you are in the Midwest or if you're in the Chicago area. Let me know if you guys have observed any severe weather. I'd like to know a way we can kind of get those reports in, real time. I can provide the warnings. I can provide information from the National Weather Service. I can provide the radar data, but what I can't provide is ground truth. And the only way we can get ground truth is if we get those reports coming back from you guys. So let me know what you guys are seeing. Again, I'm meteorologist Jeremy Kappell on with AK Lisa Ray. This is a dedicated channel for focusing on higher end severe weather events. And whenever you have tornadoes around a city the size of Chicago, I feel it's very important to cover that. I will get some images up for you in just a couple of moments. Working on that now. And also want to check back in with the Weather Service out of Chicago. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, we've got more really nasty weather coming into the Chicago area. And we're going to take you back in. Again, well, my concern with Chicago is that, yeah, you've had one storm that's rolled through, but it's we've still got these conditions that are favorable. And, you know, I'm afraid we're going to have to track this for a little while, because that next round of storms, it's going to feed. Look what time it is. It's 3:30 p.m. Central Time. So we're talking about maximizing heating right now.
Okay.
And so they're going to see more sunshine. We know what this atmosphere is capable of. It's already produced one potentially supercell thunderstorm that has dropped tornadoes or multiple funnel clouds. And then you just added in more heating. That boundary is setting up right across that area. I don't see any reason why we don't, again, see more of these supercells moving into the Chicago area. So I think that's a legitimate possibility that we might be looking at.
So another round?
Another round is definitely a possibility. So I'm pulling up some more weather data for you. And also, again, I'm going to get some live pictures up in just a moment. So the visible satellite is a very important instrument that we use for assessing heating. We can also cross-reference that with the information that we're getting in from the Storm Prediction Center with regards to what they call their meso-analysis. Basically, it's just really at a granular level, watching these ingredients as they come together. And so we can do that in near real time. So I'm going to pull that up now, because again, we're growing concern for the city of Chicago again. And you can see everything's going to converge in that area. So we've got new thunderstorms that are blowing up on the southwest side of the city. And then you've got that potential tornadic cell that's cruising on in from near Sterling. And so let's go on over. This is the visible satellite, and what you're looking at is basically what the satellite is seeing. If you were on that satellite from space looking down, this is what you'd see, where you've got the billowy white areas. Those are developing thunderstorms, and we've also got that significant low pressure system to the north into southern portions of Minnesota, northern Iowa. Well, that's the area of low pressure that's going to drop a front. It's ahead of that front that we have that really nasty mixture of combinations that is developing. And on this particular map, I can overlay some products that will also help us further estimate the actual threat level. And so what I've put on here, and you can see it in motion, is what we call CAPE. It's convective available potential energy. Basically, it's fuel for these thunderstorms to grow off of. And so we had the one really, really nasty storm that tore through Chicago, the south side, potentially dropping a tornado. And then we've got this area of CAPE that's up over 3,000. That's also approaching the south side. So 3,000 units of CAPE. And that's more than enough to help to develop additional strong to severe thunderstorms, potentially with tornadoes. So here's a look at kind of a broader area. And all of this, by the way, in an area that's underneath that enhanced risk of severe weather. 2 active tornado warnings that remain in effect. And that's out here, and you can see a new warning now being issued by Peoria. Brand new warning coming in now.
That is what you want on right now, right?
Mm-hmm. What?
Okay.
Oh, what are you saying? As far as monitoring the chat?
No, your screen.
Oh yes, we were on the correct one.
Okay.
Okay, so tornado warning for east central Knox County has been canceled. That's good. However, tornado warning does continue for northwestern Marshall, Stark County, east central Knox County, and northwestern Peoria County. That's in east central Illinois. Do hope you guys are enjoying your Memorial Day. Hopefully we'll watch these storms wind down, but I'm not seeing evidence of that so far. And again, with peak heating approaching, and this is getting into, again, some pretty large population centers, the storm to me seems like it is one that we need to watch.
The simple weather alert said potential tornado near Deer Crow or 8 miles southwest of Walton, moving east at 35 miles per hour. Mobile homes may be damaged to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely.
Okay, so that's 8 miles southwest of Walton, and we're going to look again at our high resolution model or radar data coming up in just a moment. In the meantime, that tornado warning, the new one, that's for Marshall County, northwestern Woodford County, southeastern Stark County, and also northeastern Peoria County.
It says here in West Side and Bureau. So did you say West Side?
Yeah.
Or White Side?
White Side and Bureau County. So that one should be, is it going to be expiring, what, 3:45? That one should be expiring pretty much as we speak. No, we got about 7 minutes left on that. I'm looking at your clock.
Oh, was mine wrong? Yeah.
Yeah, you're off again. We have to get that.
No.
We have to get that fixed. There is rotation with the thunderstorm though, and let me get you back over to the correct radar source here. This is the storm that was tornado warned earlier. It's a severe thunderstorm warning now. But there's still pretty good evidence of rotation with that. South of Harmon, north of Walnut, so that's what your, who was it that was tweeting that?
Oh, that was, simple weather alert.
Simple weather alert, there you have it. All right, let's check back in with our audience. Who do we have on here? We've got Honey Badger on here. We've got R8 Sir. R8 Sir. I'm in the far northwestern suburbs, and we have had heavy downpours, nothing major. Again, northwestern suburbs look like they've been spared so far. We'll watch with that next round of thunderstorms approaching. So we appreciate your report. And we appreciate you guys being on here. Linda on here. Aviation reports on here as well. Where is the warm front right now? And that front is located right there in the south side. Let me take you back to my other radar unit. I'm going to take off the watch. Okay, and we can do some basic meteorology here, where we can kind of provide details on what the expectation is. Aviation guy wants to know where the warm front is. And that's important because oftentimes it's on the warm front that you'll have more spin available, and that'll be the trigger. So let's see. It's a new, I'm working with some fairly new radar equipment, and so I'm still getting up to speed on all of its function. I wanted to take the tornado watch off, and let's go back over here to the last frame. Also, let's see, it looks like I've got 2 logos on here. I only need 1. Okay, so that should help a little. And I wanted to check back in with Chicago. What are they saying?
Did you say tornado
all right,
warning
Chicago
for
has
Lee County?
issued a new tornado warning. What's this for?
I have one for Lee County.
So this just happened. You've got Lee County. I've got a tornado warning. Oh, that's Lee County. You're getting it at the same time I am. Good deal. Well, let's get back to that. Lee County tornado that's coming in from Chicago. That was the storm that we were just looking at. I'm going to get back to the front in a moment. Someone was asking about the location of the front. Well, it's basically where these storms are firing. Been on a family hike today. We went down to local Memorial Park in Rochester just to pay tribute and to reflect on this Memorial Day, and got to meet several veterans, and You know, it was an enjoyable day to be outside. So we're just kind of getting up to speed. We rushed in here when we saw the news, and we were getting the reports that that we've got significant severe weather developing. Again, some of that perhaps even affecting Metro Chicago. So that's why we came on. This is the current storm of interest where they just issued a new tornado warning, and you're seeing some of that rotation. That is velocity on the left, and it's also reflectivity on the right. That's tornado warning for southwestern Lee County. That goes until 4:15 Central Time. That was a storm located near Walnut, or 7 miles southwest of Walton. Okay, there's a Walnut and a Walton, not the same place. The storm is moving east at 35 miles per hour, developing circulation associated with that. You can see that very evidently here on our relative velocity, where it looks like we're beginning to watch those velocities going up. About 40 mile per hour one way, and then you've got the other way, so 25 or so. It's about 65 mile per hour shear associated with that, but that's also at about 5,000 feet. This storm is going to work its way into a pretty favorable environment for more strong to severe thunderstorms. Somebody was talking about they were northwest suburbs of Chicago. You're not seeing much there, but if you're south of Chicago, you know, I hate to say it, but you got these new thunderstorms that are just developing right in that same area, and they do show some signs of rotation. This one, for instance. This is located Orland Park, south of Hastings. Again, this is south side of Chicago. Looking at more thunderstorms developing. This is following a massive supercell that moved through over the last hour, potentially dropping a tornado near Oak Forest?
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what the radar would suggest, that a tornado very possibly could have occurred. This is what's left of that storm. It kind of got butchered by the lake. The cold lake waters can help to stabilize the atmosphere. It did, but that storm's still producing severe thunderstorm warnings. New severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Porter County in northwestern Indiana, and also northeastern sections of Lake County, for a storm capable of producing 60 mile per hour winds and also some sizable hail, maybe ping pong ball sized hail. That's enough to do some damage. There's a look at the hail potential. Make your way from near Portage to, what is that, Burns Harbor, Ogden Dunes. I've been up there, by the way. So that's a pretty area right on the lake.
Where is that?
Right on Lake Michigan, northwestern Indiana.
Yeah.
But this is hail potential is what we're looking at here. All right, so we've got SSPP on here. Looks like could touch down at any moment. Where are you at? Greg Corner, live chaser.
South of
Tampico.
Looking north.
So this was the other storm, and we want to go back to that. I believe that was this one. I'm looking for the town of Tampico. This is north of Peoria, where you've got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings, and then this is the other tornado warning, located between Harmon and Ohio. That's north and east of Walnut. So lots to track here on this Memorial Day. Hopefully your weekend's gone well. Hopefully we don't have too much more in the way of dangerous weather, but right now I am concerned for portions of northern central Illinois, including the Chicago area, where you do continue with that warning. Let me go ahead and draw on the fronts. There it is. That red line is your warm front. If our aviation friend is still on here, let me draw attention. So it's right there. That's the actual warm front. So why is that important? Because it's along that boundary that you can get spin. And so that's when you can run into some problems. Let's put this into motion. And you can see a number of tornado warnings coming down the pipe. It is about 3:47 Central Time. And this area, again, around that warm front, either on it, just to the north of it, just to the south of it, that's where you get more spin and the possibility of, again, more supercells that could produce tornadoes. Jack Allen back on here. Katie and I watching from her sister's place. Not sure how long we'll be on, but thanks, Jack, for stopping by. Jack Allen is a moderator of this show, and he deserves a lot of credit for helping get this started with a lot of the graphics that you'll see or ideas by Jack or collaborations with him. So good hanging out, by the way, last night, Jack. Glad to hear you made it home safely this morning. Raven wants to know when there are storms. Okay, well, the storms are occurring now. They're firing up now. You're looking at them in real time.
No, she watches you now and then when there are storms.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's a part of.
It's a part of. That's a second thought.
You see, that's Lisa is also a moderator. You should just talk to her.
Yeah.
That's AKA Lisa Ray. For those that don't already know that, you can find her on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. She's relatively new to Twitter.
Very new to that, and Instagram, for that matter.
Right. So I did say I wanted to get some pictures up, and we were looking at some from earlier. Let's see. There was that pretty good hail video.
I was thinking you just take that right from there.
Yeah.
So Weather Junkie on here says there may also be a tornado on the ground southeast of Harms, Illinois.
Harms, Illinois. Well, we've got 3 warnings currently, and we're going to go back to them in a moment. So.
Oh, and this Mike on here says severe thunderstorm just offshore of Indiana Dunes.
Yep.
NPS, respectable amount of rotation and could be producing a water spout. Headed for Berrien County.
Well, that's very good information. And thank you for that contribution.
You want this video? We've got some hail.
Yep, that's coming in from James. And let me look for that. I should be able to bring that up. Was that recent?
Yeah.
Did that just come
very
down?
Recent.
Okay, I'll pull that up.
Yeah, it looks very concerning there. My goodness.
Also, yeah, this is a rotating wall cloud north of Ohio, Illinois. So this is a warned storm. You're looking at that again. That's coming in from Daryl Neal. Thank you for that. Sharing that on Twitter. And that's via the National Weather Service out of Chicago, which we're also in communication with. This is what it looks like south of Davis Junction at around 3:45. That looks to me to be a shelf cloud. That previous picture may have been a wall cloud. This is the scene. Naperville, this is where one of my best friends' family's at. We got a bunny rabbit and we got a pile of hail. And
stop.
There you go. Cold beer.
Hey,
while
make
you're
the
at
best
it.
of the situation,
That's
right?
what you got to do. And then that's the Weather Junkie that was reporting about the potential of new developments. I'm going to go right back over to radar in just a moment. So for those that are just joining us, we are tracking severe weather now occurring across portions of the Midwest, Chicago, especially south side. You've got strong thunderstorms that are rebuilding. You had a tornado warning for portions of Chicago earlier. That's the reason I jumped on. And this is some wind. This is out of Yorkville, Illinois.
Wow,
Potential.
look at that.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Wow, that
That's
wow's right.
frightening. Yeah, I would not.
I would say that probably is a microburst.
Wow.
Though that's devastating. There's gonna be a lot of trees down with something like that. A lot of power outages. That's Ben Smith. I'm gonna retweet that.
Wow.
That's pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
And what's this one here? So tornado caught. Okay, so this is a tornado. 5 miles north of Charles City. Now, this is in Iowa, so this is a little while earlier when it was in the Davenport area. I mean, from this angle, that looks like a large tornado.
It does.
That is not what you want to see. Okay, that's from Mike Seidel. You might know him of Weather Channel fame. And one more set of pictures here. That's a large shelf cloud. That's Romeoville in Illinois, northern Illinois. Let's get back over to radar and we'll get you caught up with all the latest watch and warning information. We've got thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes over a large swath of area. Does include stronger thunderstorms, as mentioned, located right there on the immediate lake shore, where we are seeing maybe some interaction with that lake boundary that could actually enhance the potential of some local severe weather. This is Gary, Indiana. So that's a severe for you, but you make your way to the west and you've got a tornado warning, 2 active tornado warnings, including the one near Tampico, but I believe the storm is now east of Tampico. Going over to our other radar unit, this is what it looks like. So the one that's east of Tampico, the tornado warning does continue a little while longer. The actual couplet is to the southwest of a town named Sublet. And then that's also south of, what is that, Amboy right now? Where from this vantage point, it looks like that rotation has come down a little bit. That's good. Now there's multiple tornado warnings to the south. This one was observed earlier. This should be coming to an end though. The tornado warning for east central Knox County has been canceled. But it does continue for make that southeastern Marshall, northwestern Woodford, and southeastern Stark County. So that storm is still showing some pretty viable rotation with that. As far as Chicago is concerned, thunderstorms are pretty widespread across southern suburbs. You've got just some showers near downtown, nothing close to severe. Oak Forest, you've got thunderstorms that are redeveloping. Possible tornado earlier near Oak Forest, according to radar. Chicago Heights, we're seeing again some stronger thunderstorms developing. And this goes back over to that original supercell that it really has shrunk, but it's still showing some signs of intensity.
So they're saying these tornado watches will be in effect till about 9 p.m. tonight.
Right.
This is going to be an all-day event.
Well,
Or just to be on guard.
I think for parts of the area. I think once you get new severe thunderstorm warnings, by the way, issued, parts of this region, yeah, because the actual watch is very large, and I'll show that watch in a moment. I did want to focus on the storm that is showing more rotation now. Again, this is the one that moved through Chicago with the possibility of a tornadic rotation earlier. And just kind of investigating what the winds are doing. And we're showing widespread 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. And this is in an area that does appear to have rotation with it. If this storm does, well, that's a large severe thunderstorm warning. So let's get that out. Severe thunderstorm warning issued for northern LaPorte County, southwestern, is it Berrien County? That's southwestern Michigan.
Mm.
It's a storm that's moving to the east here at about 40 miles per hour. So we'll be monitoring that as well. Numerous thunderstorms on the south side of Chicago right now. Some of them showing rotation. And I'm curious as to just how much low-level shear we've got. Of course, that's one thing that I look for when I'm looking to see what the storms are doing, as far as like the potential of rotation, as far as the potential of them actually dropping tornadoes. So basically, I'm going to do a little bit of real-time assessment here. We do have the meso analysis, and that's how it's a method through the National Weather Service where you can take data in real time and you can basically use these as indices, and that'll describe the likelihood that we do see more tornadoes and other forms of severe weather. As far as, and I showed this just a little bit ago, CAPE on the order of around 3,000 to 3,500 units. That's south of Chicago right now. That is more than conducive as far as wind shear is concerned. Looking at bulk wind shear of 45 to 55 knots, which is conducive. And then helicity, which is a measure of the turning of the atmosphere. It's about 500. That's very close to Chicago. It's focused along that boundary. So, and it looks like the low level wind shear, which is really kind of the lowest kilometer of the atmosphere, it looks like we are somewhere in the order around 25 to 50 units, which isn't over the top. But, you know, lots to watch. I've got I am the one on here, and will Kankakee get hit is the question. Well, that's a great question. I got to place Kankakee on the map. Where is Kankakee?
Is it a county?
It's a city.
City?
Might be a county too. Where is Kankakee? So that's it's out in the middle of nowhere. South of Chicago. I shouldn't say that. I know that's not the case. I'm looking for, where's Peoria? Peoria. So Kankakee looks like it is nestled somewhere between Gary and Bloomington. South of Chicago by, where? About how great of a distance is that? Anyway, to answer your question, I bet you, okay, so there it is on the actual map. You're going to see thunderstorms, and they're going to probably be. I would put money you see a severe thunderstorm out of this deal. Just because of your placement, where you're located at, and we've got the ingredients that are there. I was showing the visible satellite earlier. Let me pull that back. And putting this into motion for you. We've also got CAPE on here. It's again that product, convective available potential energy. Basically, these storms are going to have plenty of juice to fire off of. You're seeing sunshine in Kankakee, aren't you? If you're still on there, let me know. Galaxy on here. Storms later for Cook County, Chicago. Is that a question? It says my storms later. Okay. Oh, more storms. For Chicago, yes, absolutely. Chicago will see another round of thunderstorms. There's no doubt that that's going to occur. I want to bring up some future. Let me kind of dial on into the Chicago area here, and this is a look at one of our higher resolution weather models available to us. Shows that boundary with additional storms likely. It's not really it says that storm risk will remain for you guys until about midnight tonight. But I think the largest severe risk will be south side of Chicago. Active tornado warnings do remain for.
Wow, is that? Look at that picture.
Oh, is that street flooding? Where's that at?
It says Oak Lawn.
Oak Lawn. That's a lot of water. They're having fun though.
Wow.
Okay, so flash flooding does continue in Cook County. So for Chicago, you've got flash flood warnings that goes until 5:15. Also, new severe thunderstorm warning coming out. This is also in Chicago. They're saying severe thunderstorm warning and a tornado is possible. That's what I mean. I just can't, you know, I wasn't hoping to do a lot of work today, but so just like this, and this is why I want to stick with this. If you guys are just getting on here, understand that we've got developing severe weather. Yes, Chicago has already had a significant storm roll through, possibly dropping a tornado.
There's some in Wyoming going on.
That's SSPP. And, well, keep in mind, we're trying to monitor multiple areas. I will go out to Wyoming once I'm convinced that this storm's not going to do anything in Chicago. We can take a look in a moment, but look, this is the new warning. It's a severe thunderstorm warning. Ping pong ball sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. So, Brian, thank you for that. And we'll look at it. Again, my concern is this population center that is seeing this supercell, another supercell developing. That is no doubt what we're looking at right here. Near the town of Crete. That's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing winds to 60 miles per hour and also ping pong ball sized hail.
Is there a strong hook forming? Says NASCAR fan.
That it does indeed appear to be a pretty sizable hook developing. What I'm looking for is a rotation within that. Hopefully we don't see that, but again, this is that area that we know is becoming conducive. As far as immediate velocity signature, it's not over the top, so we've got some time to watch this. That's the reason why they issued the severe. I am looking at a large hail parameter. Our algorithm showing over 2-inch sized hail. So that is a big storm, regardless of how you cut it.
It's going down. I live right by Midway Airport.
Okay, do you see a funnel? This is Nemesio. Do you see a funnel? Let me know what you guys are seeing. I know that there are other storms out west. Again, mainly over open country. I'm really oh, new tornado warning just issued.
Where's that at?
All right, that's that supercell we were talking about. There you have it. Okay, so this is the one that moved through Chicago earlier with a potential tornado. Now it's coming off of the lake, and it's rotating hard again. Oh, this is happening. There is a okay.
Where at?
This is Chesterton. Let me pull this up again. Tornado in northern Indiana. This is located very close to south of Michigan City.
Okay.
Valparaiso, it's to your north. Tornado warning for northeastern Porter County. And this thing is rotating hard. Also, northwestern LaPorte County. That goes until 4:30. Looking at where the center of rotation is, I want to see if we've got any debris. And that's a possible debris TDS, which is a tornadic debris signature. It was strongest just moments ago.
Are we okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Just looks Like it's froze?
It's because it's not, well, for whatever reason, it's not playing live. It should be live. There's live. It just went off live for a moment.
Okay.
We're live though.
Okay.
Okay, so that storm, again, LaPorte looking unfortunately much stronger again, with possible tornado developing. This is a fairly populated area as well. South of Michigan City, again, supercell thunderstorm. If you guys haven't already shared this video, now may be a very good time to do that. It looks like weather is ratcheting up. Again, along the lake shore, we're looking at multiple supercell thunderstorms. The one potentially producing a tornado. To the west, north of Peoria, tornado warning continues. We'll come back to that storm. Also, new supercells firing up near Chicago, including the one near Chicago Heights. No tornado warning with this, but we are noting an uptick in the actual velocity. The tornado warning south of Michigan City. Again, that's a very nasty looking couplet. I'm going to dive right on in here, see if we can get some more numbers. I'm looking at winds of about 65 mile per hour moving away from or towards the radar. And then we're looking at air rushing to about 50, so 110 mile per hour shear. That kind of gives us confidence that there's a good chance that if the tornado is not on the ground, it could be imminent. It could be very, very quickly. This is going to be very close to the town of LaPorte. And so now's your opportunity to find your shelter south of Michigan City, the town of LaPorte. Again, potential tornado moving towards you. Waterford. Also, you're seeing that rotation moving towards you as well. Going over to our other radar unit. This is the way it looks. Seeing strong and severe thunderstorms really kind of converging on an area that's actually not that broad. If you look at basically from Peoria to Chicago over to near South Bend. South Bend, if this storm continues, it might be your problem next. We would not like to see that. If you guys haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do so. And the notification, this channel, we just launched it about a week and a half ago for the purpose of tracking higher end severe events, especially when they're impacting a lot of people in populated areas, because that's of course when you have the greatest chance of saving lives. And of course the city of Chicago, going under that tornado warning earlier, we decided it was very important to get on here, and now that we're at peak heating, it's 4 o'clock, 4:10 Central Time, we think it's very important to help get the message out. So if you haven't shared the video, please do so. This severe weather event is ratcheting up. We are going to see more supercell thunderstorms. I believe we're going to see more tornado warnings. I believe that some of these storms are also capable of producing some large hail, destructive winds. So really the focus right now is across northeastern Illinois and far northwestern Indiana, beginning to make its way into southwestern Michigan. Again, severe threat will be going up. MR on here, no sirens in Chicago Ridge at the moment, though they were on through the earlier storm. Cascading hiker on here, we are in the Chicago area. We're central, northern, eastern Illinois, northwestern Indiana, where we have numerous severe thunderstorms and now potentially tornadoes developing. There's a look over at our analyst radar, the most threatening storm that we have. This is one that moved through Chicago earlier, possibly producing a tornado in the south suburbs of Chicago. Was it Oak Forest was the area that we were concerned with?
Oak Forest.
Oak Forest, where there was a possible touchdown. That storm hit the cold waters of Lake Michigan and it decreased in intensity, but now it's firing back up. And so that's this area here. Waterford, LaPorte, north of Westville. That's a tornado warning for you. Put this into motion for you. We've got velocity on the right reflectivity on the left. And that's a very, very healthy looking supercell thunderstorm. I might look at, we're still getting a pretty good sample coming in out of Chicago. So the Chicago radar, again, sampling it well. We're not sure if it's on the ground.
So here I have tornado on the ground near Yorksville, Illinois.
Yorksville, Illinois. We got a video coming in
That
from.
was 10 minutes ago.
Okay, I still want to know where it's at.
Meteo channel.
Okay, where is Yorkville? So it sounds like we're getting confirmation of a touchdown in Yorkville. So this would be. Okay, I believe this is going to be the same storm then, the one from earlier. So this must be old. But again, is this confirmation from the one that originally struck the south side of Chicago, Yorkville, not far away from Naperville or Aurora, Illinois. So keep the reports coming in. Let me know what you guys are seeing. If you're in the Chicago area, if you're in that part of the Midwest, yeah, we absolutely love to know what you guys have been experiencing. All we know is that the conditions are there. Conditions are favorable for the development of strong to severe thunderstorms. Possibly tornadic. So watching the development of a new supercell, and that's near Chicago Heights right now. It's a pretty ugly looking storm. I can say, and I'd like to do, is kind of take a three-dimensional sample because this is affecting a large population. And so one thing that we like to do is kind of do a three-dimensional look at the storm. This is what it actually looks like if you were to take the storm and look at it on all sides in the third dimension. So I'm going to bring that up for you. Let me add that window. So this is a three-dimensional volume scan of that storm. And the top of that thunderstorm, upwards of 45,000, just less than 50,000 feet. Okay, tornado warning now issued. This is coming in from Chicago. This is radar indicated for LaSalle, Lee counties until 4:45. So this is a new tornado warning just coming in. I'm going to put away my volume scan. We'll have to leave the Chicago Heights storm to go look at the new warning. Coming in, there it is. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. So that's coming in from this storm you see here. I'm going to bring it back over to 2-panel. That way we can assess rotation along with the storm. That's West Brooklyn, Compton, Paw Paw. It's located very close to the town of Sublette. That storm again will be shifting east in time. So this entire area needs to be watched for that. I'm going to take you over to the other radar unit. Might actually be able to get some live tracking on it for you. So there's the new warning. I'm going to see, give me a moment, I'll get, what is that, KDVN? Is it DVN? Is that the other radar site that I need? You know, I know you have the answer right. This is my wife, aka Lisa Ray. If you're just getting acquainted with the channel, she helps me moderate quite often, and we also host another show that's local to Western New York called Weather Live at 9:45, and she is a star in that show. I gotta say. So we're getting her up to speed on severe weather, though. That's kind of our.
Yeah, a little new to me.
So these are to look at just the warnings again, and there. Oh gosh, they did it.
What happened?
Tornado warning, south side of Chicago again. That's the storm we were just looking at. They always do it when I turn my back. All right, so there's just a lot of warnings. So you've got the 1, 2, 3. we've currently got 4 tornado warnings. This is going to be the most serious because, again, it's in the metropolitan area. So we'll come back to the Compton, West Brooklyn storm. Let's cruise on over to Chicago. I mean, we turned away for a minute and they issued a warning on it. So tornado warning again, south side of Chicago. This is going to affect Gary, Indiana. Oh gosh, and it is looking, that is not a pretty looking signature. Okay, I'm looking at what may be a developing debris ball near Crete. I hope that's not what that is, but that's what that looks like. Ah, gosh. Okay, tornado warning. This is a radar indicated for Cook County, Will County, and Lake County in Illinois and Indiana until 5 p.m. The storm was located over Steger, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. That just came in from the National Weather Service. Guys, this is a lot of people in this area. And so I want you guys to help me get the word out. If you haven't shared the video, please do so. We want to get the word out to as many people as possible. This is a highly populated area, and you don't typically get tornadoes in this area. They normally are further away from the lake shore. I think this is developing right on that lake boundary. But I want to make sure that everybody is helping, everybody's rowing in the same direction. There's a look at the analyst radar. If you haven't shared it, please do so. Also hit the subscribe notification button for next time. This channel, we just got it off the ground a week and a half ago, and I'm happy to say the response has been huge. But what we do is we're focused on covering severe weather and the worst types of it, especially when it's impacting a lot of people. This is impacting a lot of people. Severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings. The tornado warning, south side of Chicago. Brian, thank you. I should be on the correct screen now, but I appreciate the heads up. Calling for supercells tomorrow. More bad weather for parts of the region tomorrow. Yes. This is going to be the focus, though, for today. This area, again, it's primed, I think, for some nasty storms. There's the tornado warning, goes until 5 p.m. Central Time. We're talking about south side of Chicago. A lot of people being impacted here. Chicago Heights, you're in it. Willbrook, Crete. Is it Reichton Park? Reichton Park, I believe. And this looks to me like this could be what I would consider I hope it's not, but that looks like a debris ball near Crete. That's a signature that it may be picking up some debris. That's what that looks like. I wish
A debris ball, does that turn into?
A debris ball means it's already on the ground.
Oh, okay.
If that is what that is.
Oh, I see.
Let me bring up my telestrator and I can kind of explain to you guys what I'm looking at. But let me know if anybody's in that part of Chicago and you've got visual. Well, if you're in that part of Chicago, you really need to be taking cover. But if you're behind it, let me know what you see. And let me load a file here. I can maybe increase our telestration capabilities in just a moment. Let me know what you guys are seeing. South side of Chicago, tornado warning, many counties involved. It does include portions of Cook County. I believe Lee and Lake counties are also involved with that.
This says here, did you just say Will and Lake County?
Yep.
Yeah, and Cook.
Right. Okay. All right, so there's the hook echo. Very clearly see that right there. Now, what's not as clear is what the velocity is showing. Unfortunately, I'm getting some ambiguous data. The radar's confused. Well, this particular radar is probably not used to seeing tornadoes. But that looks to be the case. At least I'm showing a lot of indication here. So let me take that debris ball, what may be a debris ball. Again, when this is not confirmed, I'm going to take it over and look at CC will be on the right. Okay. It's definitely picking up That may not be a debris ball. I hope not. It's not confirmed, as mentioned, but tornado warning is in effect. Highland, Griffith, Schererville, Dyer. That storm is moving towards you. I'm hoping we get better velocity data in the next scan. In the meantime, I don't want to forget about our friends out in LaPorte, and this is really strengthening. I want to shift focus to LaPorte. LaPorte, that looks like a tornado very near you right now. Tornado warning for LaPorte. I'm looking at winds of 70 miles per hour towards the radar site, about 40 mile per hour away, 30 to 40. So you're looking at about 100 mile per hour gate-to-gate shear. That's in LaPorte. I'm going to change products for a moment, see if, and there may be a debris ball. There's a debris ball. LaPorte's going to get hit with a tornado. LaPorte, the city of LaPorte, Indiana. That is a tornado that's on the ground. Who do we know from that area? Do we have anybody up near LaPorte, or there can relay any sort of information as to what's happening? Oak Forest, Illinois, you're okay. The new storm is just south of you, so you're okay. That's coming in from Christine. You had quite a storm on top of you guys earlier. That same storm now on top of the city of LaPorte. I hope you guys took your precautions because it's on you. And again, that appears to be a tornado that's on the ground. I am getting this from correlation coefficient. It does line up with the velocity signature. Likely a tornado touchdown. There's debris that's probably falling. Hopefully there's not more debris that's being picked up, but if you're in LaPorte, you got to treat that. If you're in LaPorte, well, it's kind of too late to do anything. But if you're east of LaPorte, where they haven't expanded the tornado warning yet, I'd be considering. If you're in Rolling Prairie, if you're in Hamlet, I would be considering what I'd be doing. Going back to the National Weather Service, tornado may be imminent on the warned cell. We need to go back to Will, Cook, Lake County. They're saying a tornado may be imminent. I want to see what they're looking at. So looking at the other, that is a very mature-looking supercell thunderstorm. And you've been looking at these with me for the last couple of weeks as we've been launching this channel. You're not a trained meteorologist, but you can tell me that's a dangerous-looking storm.
I can see
the hook.
I can see a hook.
The hook echo.
Yeah.
And very clearly.
Wow. Yeah.
Very definite. So let me come back over and telestrate with you for a moment. There's the active warnings, and what is going on there?
With what?
It's almost like my software. I've got.
Oh, you have. It's like overlapping.
It is overlapping.
Yeah.
Oh, that telestrator's doing bad things. All right, forget about the telestrator. You don't need it to see that hook echo that's on here. That hook echo located very close. And again, this is coming from Chicago. The National Weather Service, tornado imminent, which means that they think it's dropping out of the sky now. Schererville, Indiana. That you need to be taking shelter immediately. Schererville is not a small town. Again, this is a populated area. This is part of what makes this a scary situation, is that I know a lot of people live out there. Linwood, Griffith, New Elliott, Lake Hills, St. John, Dyer, that storm is on top of you now. Willowbrook, it's on top of you now. Sauk Village, it literally is on top of you. If you're behind this storm, Reichton Park, Moni, is it Goodnow? Is that really a town's name? I'd like to know what you guys are seeing. If you're behind us, you should have a good visual of what this storm is doing and what it looks like. Are we seeing any reports on Twitter? North of Crete, do you think it will hit Peru? There was a confirmed touchdown coming in from NASCAR Fan. I think we've got multiple confirmed touchdowns. Which one are you referring to? Again, two storms. LaPorte may be getting hit by a tornado right now. This is LaPorte, Indiana. Again, that's a pretty sizable town, but you've got a supercell thunderstorm on top of you. And hopefully you've taken your precautions. Maybe that storm's lifting, I hope. But we know that this thing is dangerous. Looking here, south side of Chicago. Okay, I'm possible tornado down very close. It may be on the ground. I'm just checking some of the traffic that's coming through our various feeds, including dialogue with the National Weather Service out of Chicago. Tornado, they do continue the tornado warning for LaSalle, Lee, so LaSalle and Lee counties. Storm is moving towards the northwest. Excuse me, towards the east at 25 miles per hour. They're saying it's very close to. Let me zoom on in because that is such a well-defined hook. That's South Chicago Heights, Dyer. I'm going to try to put a marker on here, and again, unfortunately, we're getting some mixed velocity data. So the position of this storm with respect to the radar is not helping. But all the other cues are there. All the other visuals are there. That this is a healthy supercell thunderstorm. We know that it's going up in an environment that's conducive. There's no reason not to take your shelter. Take this warning very, very seriously. I've got Barry up next, gang. Says, I'm in Chicago. Okay, what part? What are you guys seeing? Are you taking shelter? If you're south of Chicago, you're taking shelter. Jason says he's in the tornado right now. Jason, no tongue-in-cheek. If you really are, you better be downstairs. Okay, Christine, I'm west of LaPorte. There are huge clouds by it now. Okay, can you tell? Do you have any sort of confirmation? If you're west, can you see if it's on the ground? If you're west of LaPorte, let me know if that tornado is on the ground. And then are we checking with our Twitter friends on go for Illinois and Indiana weather?
Yeah.
Either one of these two, make sure that we've got them on the latest. So scroll on up.
Yeah, why is it so? Okay.
You got to kind of keep it right. And so we're kind of going through all of our social medias to confirm what we're seeing out here. And if you guys just, I just want to continue to urge people to do the right thing, because until we get, it doesn't make a difference if this thing is confirmed or not. All we know is that the ingredients are there. Radar signatures do not look good, so you do definitely want to do whatever you have to do. Just get out, get underground. Hopefully, if you've got a basement. If not, just do the best you can in the middle of your home, an interior hallway closet. Oftentimes we'll do the part. You want to essentially put as many walls between you and that potential tornado as possible. And the way that you do that, again, if you're in a sturdy, well-built home, lowest floor. If you don't have a basement, lowest floor, hallway bath, hallway closet, until this threat passes. So Cherville, it's moving towards you very quickly. I want you guys, again, take your shelters. Looking at the potential of a developing tornado, according to National Weather Service out of Chicago, they think it was on the way down, if not on the ground now. We'll find out in time. The other storm, LaPorte, Indiana. Again, that storm, and they did issue a new tornado warning with the LaPorte storm. That just issued, just now. Possible touchdown, that is coming in from the south side of Chicago. That's Sauk Village near Dyer. Spotters reporting a possible touchdown. Tornado on the ground near the Illinois-Indiana border. So multiple tornadoes possibly on the ground right now across northern Indiana. One moving out of Illinois, the other one up here near the town of LaPorte. And where we're seeing, incredible velocities here. about 114 mile per hour towards the radar site. In the meantime, on the other side, wow, okay, wow.
You see?
Well, the velocity shows at 65 mile per hour towards the radar site, and then 40 away. We got 105 mile per hour gate to gate though. It's gate to gate. So this thing's right on top of it. So let me place a marker. Let's take a look at the correlation coefficient and possible TDS. Possible, not definite. TDS stands for Tornadic Debris Signature. All right, so that's for the storm that's in LaPorte. Let's put out the latest warning information. St. Joseph County, northeastern LaPorte County. That's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. That goes until 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So where's it going? This storm, located just to the south of Rolling Prairie, New Carlisle, is at Crumstown, Hamlet, North Liberty. All of those towns are currently underneath the warning. Now going back to our Chicago storm, again, ugly looking supercell. I say it's Chicago. It's South Chicago now. This is for Cook, Will, and Lake counties. So Cook County, Illinois, Will County, Illinois, Lake County, Indiana. A confirmed tornado was located near Silk Trail and the state line just west of Dyer, moving towards the northeast. Again, we've confirmed it now. There is a tornado on the ground just south of Chicago. I can see it better on my velocity now. There. So let's see if we're picking up a debris signature yet. It's possible. It's not definite. But we know it's on the ground, so it's just a matter of time before we see the debris being picked up actually by the radar. So there's a lot of areas that are included. They just turned it over from that red warning to the purple warning. Just means that it's been confirmed. Cherville, get in your safe place immediately. Maryville, that's again a sizable town as well. It's moving towards you. So you need to go ahead and take your precautions in Maryville. Griffin, Ross, Highland, New Chicago, Hobart, Indiana, all underneath that tornado warning. This is a confirmed tornado, now confirmed by the National Weather Service out of Chicago. 63 people on here. If you haven't already shared the video, please do so. Again, we are looking at a tornado outbreak in progress across a very, very highly populated area. And I want to make sure that we're getting the word out to as many people as possible. Some people may be unaware. They may be, just going about their Memorial Day festivities. Maybe they're having a picnic. Maybe they're seeing some dark clouds, but at the very least, they need to get up to date. One way to get them up to date is to share this video to as many people as possible. And if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do so, as it is dedicated to getting severe weather information out during higher level severe weather events, especially when it's impacting a lot of people. And this is definitely impacting a ton of people. Let's put this into motion for you. Again, we've got several tornado warnings, possible tornadoes in progress, and some of them up in near the Chicago area. Give me a moment while I share the latest information over on my Twitter feed. And then Lisa, let me know if you have any new information to pass along as well.
Kale on here says a tornado is in progress, embedded in this hook echo entering Indiana, highly populated region.
Yep. Which is why we're on here again.
Then on here we have a confirmed tornado on the ground in Dyer, Indiana.
Okay.
Train spotter confirmed.
Dyer, Indiana, again, it's right on the Illinois and the Indiana line. You're talking about a very populated area that's just south of Chicago. Okay, latest real-time report coming in from the National Weather Service. Amateur radio indicates that the tornado with confirmed touchdown near Dyer, Indiana, has possibly lifted. Again, that would be good. We don't know if it's going to stay up in the air, but maybe it lifted. We will see. And then again, I tweeted this out. This is Illinois weather, getting trying to get more eyeballs on this feed. Possibly life-saving information here. And so if you guys haven't shared, please do so.
Confirmed damaging tornado on the ground near Black Oak, Highland, Griffith, and Merrillville, Indiana. Take shelter immediately.
Okay, so that's away. Let's check back with our radar and also any new comments that we have on our feed. I know there was a lot of people that were concerned up near the Chicago area. Storm may be cycling right now. That's coming in from NASCAR fan. Wizard Dragon on here talking about Jack. Jack is home and is able to moderate. Jack, we continue to be very concerned about the situation. It's peak heating. It's 4:37, excuse me, Central Time. And we've got a lot of ingredients that are coming together here, including a lot of instability in the environment right now. We've got plenty of wind shear, and now we're seeing that forcing as it's arriving across the area in the form of a warm front, and soon will be followed by a cold front later on this evening. But right now, looking at a couple of very dangerous storms, and again, they're impacting highly populated areas, including this one. It just traveled south of Chicago, crossing over from the Illinois to the Indiana state line. So the one storm that's approaching Merrillville, talk maybe it's cycling. What I'm seeing is it's actually coming down a little bit. It does not look as well organized, and that's great news. So hopefully that'll continue to be the case there. The other storm, unfortunately, showing really good rotation still. South of Rolling Prairie. This is a storm that went right through LaPorte. I'd love to get a report out of LaPorte, Indiana, as to whether or not that thing touched down. I'll tell you what we're going to do is I'm going to share this image on my Facebook page because you know, I had a lot of friends from this part of Indiana when I was back at school. They might be able to share and get this out to more people. So multiple tornadoes possibly in progress. Northern Indiana, just south of Chicago. There's possible touchdowns within metro area, south metro area of Chicago from earlier.
NWS Chicago says there's the EF1 tornado confirmed in and near Mendota, Illinois. Total number of confirmed tornadoes in this event up to 3.
That's coming in from the National Weather Service. Hit a retweet on that. Let me know what you guys are seeing. Got 82 people on here, so the crowd is building. Again, if you haven't already shared this video, please take the time to do so. You don't know who you may be helping. So many people, such a highly populated area that's now in the middle of this tornado outbreak, that sometimes all it takes is just that one mention, that one share, and then the information falls into the correct hands and people can act. A lot of people unaware. It's a Memorial holiday, you know, hey, we really kind of just want to be hanging out with our family right now. But when you've got this many people that's being impacted by this type of a storm, there's no way, you just really have to do the best you can do. Get the word out to as many people as you possibly can. Again, multiple tornadoes possibly in progress right now, south side of Chicago, northern Indiana, up in an area that typically you just don't see that many of these types of storms. And so, as such, we want to just treat this very carefully. And so, again, if you can help share the YouTube video, that would be very much appreciated. I just threw this out on my main my main Facebook. Actually, it's on Twitter, but now it's going to Facebook now, live, real time. And then hopefully we can get the word out to a greater audience. So that's firing away. Let's take a look at the latest radar information. Again, not one, but two dangerous supercell thunderstorms ongoing across now northern Indiana, coming out of the Chicago metro area. The one located near Maryville. That storm has had a history of producing funnel clouds, if not touchdowns. The Weather Service did confirm that we had a touchdown near the town of Dyer just a little bit earlier. And so we're watching the storm as it continues to cruise to the east at about 25 miles per hour. So I've got this sharing away again on my Facebook channels, trying to get more eyeballs on this feed, again impacting a lot of people. So I just want to make sure that everybody that we can give a heads up to, that we're able to do that. Okay, so that should be away on multiple pages. We've got 83 people on here. Is there anybody that's in position? Maybe you're near LaPorte. I would love to be able to get another report coming out of LaPorte. For that storm appears to have with it, unfortunately, the capability of dropping a tornado. If it's not on the ground now, it will be. So here's a look at it. This is the LaPorte storm that moved through the city of LaPorte just a little while ago. I'm showing all types of velocity with this again, where we've got velocity on the order of 57, 60 miles per hour moving towards the radar site. Adjacent, you've got velocity of 40, so that's 100 mile per hour gate to gate shear. And so this is moving towards the town of Crumstown. It's south of New Carlisle, moving away from Rolling Prairie. Nasty, nasty looking supercell thunderstorm. There's the one closer to Chicago, moving through the southeastern suburbs out of Hammond, Indiana. Hobart, you're next in line. It does look like the storm may be recycling now. That's a lot. That's a lot of people that are potentially being impacted by the storm, which is why we again are trying to get the word out to as many people as possible. If there's anybody up in this part of northern Indiana, let me know. If you're in south side of Chicago and you watched that storm move through Chicago Heights just a little bit ago, let me know. What type of reports are you hearing? What are you seeing?
Michelle says tornado on the way. Take cover, Griffith, Indiana.
Griffith, Indiana is correct. It's on top of Maryville, basically now. Griffith, you're in it. Hobart, you're next. So for those first time on this program, I'm meteorologist Jeremy Kappell, 20 years forecasting severe weather tracking experience. This is my lovely wife, aka Lisa Ray, we like to call her, and she helps me to monitor and also co-host the show. We just launched the program about a week and a half ago. It's dedicated to tracking severe weather in real time for high-level events, and that does include when you have tornadoes moving through populated areas. I'm especially sensitive to these population centers because obviously more people can be impacted. More people, more people can, lose property. More people potentially lose lives. So that's why it's so important, I think, to reach out. All right, two supercells, twin supercells, if you will. I'm going to take this back over to one panel that we've been tracking across south side of Chicago, now northern Indiana. You can see them both rotating very, very rapidly. LaPorte, I'm hoping, did not take a direct hit, but they were under a tornado warning. We had some pretty high-end signatures suggesting that that was doing business. And now the new one developing again just south of Chicago. It blew up on top of Chicago Heights, and that one potentially producing a tornado warning right now, perhaps a tornado on the ground. We know that there's been at least one touchdown with that one. The other one also has had multiple confirmed touchdowns with it. NASCAR fan on here might have another tornadic storm forming in northern Cook County. And I'm going to look at that in just a moment. Right now we've got 102 people on our newly formed YouTube channel, so you guys are doing a fantastic job of getting the word out that we're on here covering potentially life-saving weather, life-saving information at least. And you always just want to be careful, especially in areas that don't always see this type of severe weather, because you become a little, what's the word for it? You put your guard down when you're living in an area that doesn't typically see tornadoes. You're like, not in my backyard syndrome. Well, it's in your backyard now. So we all need to, again, work together, make sure that we're getting as many people informed as possible. This is a look at the broader picture, and this is over on our WSV3 radar unit, where it's got the warnings that are in effect. I'll put this into motion for you, and you can see all the thunderstorm activity making its way into the Chicago area. The threat for Chicago is not over. I know the 2 tornado warning cells are south of you, moving away. That's not the problem. The problem is all this convection you have approaching from the west. This is going to be a real problem in Chicago real soon. So we want to continue to monitor this storm as it progresses. We're not going to leave this until we know the threat is out of Metro Chicago. Okay, so speaking of which, National Weather Service out of Chicago coming in with new information saying they're going to continue the tornado warning. This is for, looking for the counties, it's Lake County in far northwestern Indiana. This is going to go until 5 p.m. Central, so in about another 15 minutes. They said the possible tornado-producing storm located near Schererville, moving east at 35 miles per hour. Spotters report that the earlier tornado near Dyersville lifted, but the storm remains capable of producing a new tornado. A lot of signatures suggesting that it may be recycling right now. And if that's the case, then yes, you can have that tornado drop out of the sky with little to no notice at all. Let me check back with my other channel. Whenever we get that chime, there's one chime that says on these National Weather Service chats, it's basically when you hear it, it's a shriek to get your attention. And we're basically, anytime the word tornado is used, that they will use that shrieking alert sound to flag you down. And we're hearing that chiming quite often, unfortunately, at the moment. So looking at a potentially bad situation developing in a very populated area, where we've got multiple tornado warnings that are in effect, and you've got more nasty looking thunderstorms approaching the city of Chicago. So you're not out of the woods. The active tornado warnings, there are 2 of them, and now they've put the observed back on it. Okay, so now they're saying observed tornado. This is for Maryville. This is for, again, this is a highly populated area, so it's a little unnerving to see these storms rolling through an area that so many people live in. Hobart, New Chicago, you got to take your shelter now. There's no time to waste. Lake Station, Ainsworth, Green Acres, that storm is on top of you now. Again, now they're saying it's confirmed back on the ground. This is the one that touched down near Dyersville, or Dyer, just a little while earlier. It may have lifted over Schererville, and now it might be back on the ground near Maryville. Maryville, Indiana, that tornado very close to the town of Turkey Creek Meadows. And let me put a best track on this for you. So Turkey Creek, that storm may be on top of you now. I want to check quickly to see if we have a TDS. We do not. That's good, but doesn't mean that it won't develop into one. So that's tornado warning number 1, tornado warning number 2. This one has produced confirmed tornadoes at multiple times during its life south of New Carlisle. Crumstown, and you can see the track on that. Best fit line takes it right through South Bend. That would be horrible. Let's go ahead and get the word out. Our friends in South Bend, Indiana, you are next. Gosh, I hope not. That would be awful. That would be awful. There's a lot of people in South Bend. I believe that's a town of a couple 100,000. It's a population of South Bend. And there's a lot of people in South Bend. What are we talking about here? 102,000. That's within the actual city itself. Plus, you have suburbs. So I want to just shout out to our friends out there in South Bend. Maybe Elkhart. This storm is moving towards you guys. They don't have a tornado warning out yet for South Bend, but you might be next. What about Chicago? You've got a tornadic storm southeast of Chicago near Hobart. This is a confirmed tornado. And then, this is our focus. This is the storm, Hobart, but there's two. So you got the storm near Hobart. Hopefully you guys are in your safe place. The other one that's located went through LaPorte. Now it's approaching South Bend. What about Chicago? Somebody was reporting a supercell that's redeveloping near the city of Chicago. There are thunderstorms going up. They are likely rotating. So yes, I would consider that a supercell located near Westchester. Now keep in mind, just because it's a supercell and you have a rotating thunderstorm does not mean you're going to have a tornado. Just know that these are storms that we're watching for you. Chicago, it's not over. We're watching it. No severe warnings yet. They may be coming. So our concern is two. New tornado warning just issued. Again, this is for a large storm that's going to be making its way through South Haven. You're underneath the warning now. New warning for South Haven, for Wheeler, for Valparaiso. Valparaiso is a very sizable town. Let's see. But I've got friends that are from Valparaiso. Again, new tornado warning issued. Valparaiso, it's got 32,000 people. So again, I want to really treat this very, very carefully, as this is going through an area that's got a lot of people. There's huge population centers that these storms are moving through. And so all it takes is one bad tornado and you've got a disaster. You've got a disaster if you don't get the word out. We've got 125 people on here right now. The last big tornado to hit Chicago was in 1967. This is coming in for Rhonda Hancock. Well, let's hope that that doesn't happen this time. Right now, the action is south. Porter County in northwestern Indiana, that's a tornado warning for you. Northeastern Lake County, that's a tornado warning for you. That goes until 5:45 p.m. Again, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Maryville, moving to the east at 25 miles per hour. Getting the new radar data in now. So there's some pretty strong wording with this. And I'm going to get a track on this storm for you. I'm going to go over to our other radar unit to do that. There's a lot of communities that are in line for this storm. And we want to make sure that everybody's doing the right thing, getting to your shelter. Looks like I zoomed in a little too tight on that one. So there's Hobart. This is Hobart. This is again an embedded. This is probably rain-wrapped supercell thunderstorm. You may not see this tornado coming. It may be shrouded in a veil of rain. Okay, so here's your track, and again, it's moving at about 35 miles per hour. I'm going to take the center of this storm, located near Hobart right now, and we're going to shift this to the east. It's going to be in South Haven at 6:03. It's going to be in Valparaiso by about 6:09. You don't have a lot of time. Valparaiso, again, it's a good-sized town. There's a lot of people there. Probably a lot of people enjoying the holiday. Maybe they're barbecuing. Likely they're going to be gathered with family and friends. Let's make sure they got a safe place to go to. The other tornado warning, that's for South Bend. Okay, so it looks like I'm off the radar source. Let me go back. Multiple supercell thunderstorms now that are ongoing. You've got your tornado warning. That's for New Carlisle. No word on what they're going to do for South Bend yet. But this one also possibly embedded with rain. Also moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour. If it stays on the ground, it's going to be in South Bend at 6:13. Argo 613, Rosen same time, Indian Village 614. Again, this is a possibility of a tornado on the ground. Tornado warning goes for another, I believe, I've got to get a time on that. Let me get a time on that, I'll come back. And let's show that other track. Again, this is a storm that's likely rain-wrapped, possible rain-wrapped tornado. Located very close to Hobart. And there's a track on it for you. It stays on this heading. It's going to be near Lake Station, 558 Portage, 602, South Haven, 605, Valparaiso at 612. This is a confirmed tornado via the National Weather Service. More thunderstorms off to the west of Chicago. Again, some of these are also turning. They are showing supercellular characteristics. So you're not out of the woods yet in Chicago, even though you've had some pretty healthy storms that have moved through. Let's go back over to the Indiana storm, and where can I get that track off at? So we're still looking at, again, what appears to be, yeah, if you can come back in and monitor momentarily. What appears to be still some very strong rotation. That's near Crumstown, south of Leidick. You can see the movement on that storm. If it does continue, it will make its way towards the South Bend area. That is tornado warned supercell thunderstorm. The confirmed tornado near Hobart, shifting east. They've lifted the confirmed tag for Wheeler, South Haven, and Valparaiso, but I think you still have to treat this one as if it is on the ground. And again, I'm off radar sources. Let me get back. There it is. This is the analyst radar that we're looking at with the new information. That's a tornado warning for Porter County, northeastern portions of Lake County, outside right now, moving to the northeast. They're saying it's slowed down some to 25 miles per hour. That's good. That'll allow more people more time to get to their shelter, to get to their safe places. Kind of want to take a three-dimensional look at this storm as well, since we've still got a great radar angle on it. And so if you're curious what this thing looks like in the third dimension, we can show you that. And this it helps me as a forecaster kind of get an idea of the actual thunderstorm, the health of the storm. You can see how high in the atmosphere it is. It's about 45,000 feet. Nice tilted updraft on it. Taking a look at the rotation. This is normalized rotation, or inrods. And basically where you've got that brighter green, that shows air that's rotating. And when you've got the blues, they're rotating in the opposite direction. Lots of rotation within the actual thunderstorm itself. So we'll continue to monitor the progress. Again, trying to get these storms out of these populated areas. It makes me very nervous to have so many people that are in line with these storms. And these are areas that don't typically see this type of severe weather. What are you seeing?
Let's see here. Confirmed tornado near East Sauk Trail and the state line just west of Dyer, moving towards the northeast. Damaging tornado and large hail. Weather spotters confirmed. Tornado. Mobile homes may be damaged.
Right.
This is
so that's
techno gadgets.
Okay. That's the Dyer storm again, and they continue. It continues to produce tornadoes, or at least the capability of producing tornadoes. We've got 120 people on here right now. If you haven't already hit the share button, please do so. We want to get this out to as many people as possible because this is continuing to develop.
They have
Do we have a video?
Yeah, video from Sublet, Illinois.
Okay, might be able to
After touching down and it quickly lifted.
Might be able to get that video up to you guys here momentarily. Right now, I do want to stay focused on the radar, not looking at the videos. Maybe some live video though.
Well, here's Eric Ziegler looking west from south side of South Bend. Looks like there's.
Okay, and he's in South Bend. Because this was our concern that South Bend would be in
south side of he's south side of South Bend.
Well, this was going to be our concern that some of these really populated towns could be in line. South Bend is one that I am concerned with. And I'm hoping that they can avoid that storm. But the tornado warning was issued. This is for South Bend now. Oh gosh. Okay, South Bend, Indiana. Again, this is a very populated area. There's a lot of people that are here. That tornado warning is for you. South Bend, Indiana now. I'm going to go back to the side-by-side, and we've kind of got that best fit track. If that line holds together, that storm's going to move right over downtown South Bend. That is not what you want to see. But we are showing, again, good rotation with this. The storm just west, we saw the picture of what appears to be a funnel cloud approaching South Bend. From that picture, it looked like it wasn't on the ground, but it may be getting close to being on the ground. Placing my marker here, it's between Leidick and Crumstown, where the best rotation is on this storm. And again, I'm looking at CC, correlation coefficient. I do not see a TDS or a tornadic debris signature. Good. But again, we're looking at this storm as far as potential is concerned. The potential is that it's going to touch down. It could touch down. And again, South Bend, very populated area. That's something you don't want to see. All right, so let's move that storm track to right here. Again,
Robert says funnel cloud approaching South Bend.
South Bend, you're under a tornado warning, so let's get the new warning information out. That is for St. Joseph County. So tornado warning, St. Joseph County, northeastern LaPorte County, southwestern Case County, southeastern Berrien County. Again, for a storm capable of producing a tornado. It's already had multiple touchdowns with this storm ever since this storm went through south side of Chicago earlier, with a possible touchdown in Forest Park. Again, this is the same storm from earlier that continues to spin and produce tornado warnings. New tornado warning as well. This is coming in from another one for LaPorte. LaPorte, this is your second tornado warning of just the last hour. Tornado warning has been issued for LaPorte County. Again, this is a new storm developing in between these two supercells. So now we've got we've got three supercells all in line between South Bend and Valparaiso. So let's take a look at these individually, one at a time. You can see Valparaiso, the storm is approaching you. That is storm number 1, showing quite a bit of rotation with that. I'm going to check the inroads. Again, rotation from Hobart to Wheeler. Let's go on over to storm number 2. Storm number 2 near Westville. That rotation located. Let me place a marker here. Rotation very, very close to the town of Westville. Looking at normalized rotation, and there it is on top of Westville. I do possible TDS. I hope that's not what that is. We'll come back to it.
Which storm are you on?
This is the new one.
Which is the one
back in LaPorte. Yep, another one in LaPorte. So we've got 3 supercell thunderstorms. And South Bend, that is ramping up. I would like.
Well, and that's what. So, Wizard Dragon says it looks like the storm heading to South Bend may be rain wrapped.
It is rain wrapped, and it's also, according to my radar data, I'm showing some suddenly some very impressive velocities where we've got winds at about 63 miles per hour, 64 miles per hour going towards the radar site. And that's adjacent to winds of about 65. All of a sudden, we've got 130 mile per hour gate-to-gate shear, and this is a storm that's heading directly towards South Bend. South Bend, Indiana, it's got a population of over 100,000 people. You may be in line for a nasty tornado. South Bend needs to be taking shelter now. I want to send a tweet out on this.
Okay.
And if you guys don't mind, help us get the word out that, again, these storms are moving through northern Indiana, South Bend, That's a large population. You just don't want to see that. Give me just a moment. And what radar do I have up? Gosh, oh, South Bend may be taking a direct hit.
Oh man.
I do not like to see this. Meanwhile, Metro Chicago thunderstorm activity is ramping up. New warnings may be imminent. That's for Chicago. So I'm taking you over to our other radar source, and I'm going to get, again, I'm getting this information out to our friends that may be in South Bend. I want them taking shelter immediately. And guys, you know, hey, it's a holiday. It's Memorial Day. We should be enjoying our time with our family and friends, but here we are. The weather doesn't take a break. They do continue the tornado warning. This is coming in from National Weather Service out of Chicago. Tornado warning does continue for Lake County. So that's Lake County, Indiana. Located over Schererville, moving east at 35. Spotters reported that the earlier tornado near Dreyer has lifted, but the storm remains capable of producing a new tornado. All right, so give me a moment. I want to get the word out to my friends in South Bend. If you guys haven't shared the video yet, please do so. Again, South Bend, tornado may be imminent. All right, new tornado warnings issued for the Valparaiso area. Take shelter immediately. Get to your safe spot. That's Valparaiso. That's Schererville, where the tornado 1 is at. LaPorte, where tornado 2 is at. And tornado number 3, maybe the strongest of the bunch right now. That is coming in out of South Bend. South Bend. You want to make sure that, gosh, there's just, it's moving so fast. Okay. Yes, it is. And I'm just afraid that it may be too late. What time is it right now? It's 6:08. Okay, there you are. All right, new information in from the Weather Service. And again, they're re-emphasizing that tornado. Again, the warning is for the Schererville storm. Valpo, you remain under that warning. And you guys can probably hear those alerts. And every time you hear that one sound, that screeching sound, that's information concerning a tornado. Okay, that's out.
So this person lives south. I live South Bend. Oh, okay.
Okay. I live in South Bend. What do? You go into the lowest floor of your home. If you have a home with a basement, that's ideal. If you don't have a basement, guys, it's in South Bend. If you don't have a basement, you need to go into the most interior portion on the lowest floor of your home. Oftentimes, it may be a hallway bath, a hallway closet. Essentially, what you want to do is you want to put as many walls between you and that potential threat as possible. Again, it could save your life, but you've got to act now. If you live in South Bend, that storm is in the city limits. It's in the city limits of South Bend. Let me run some numbers here. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that we've got air moving towards the radar at 40 miles per hour, but we've also got it moving away from the radar at over 107. That's about 140 mile per hour, almost gate to gate shear. So there's a high likelihood that this is producing a tornado. I want to see if it's showing up on the correlation coefficient. No, I don't have a good signature. That's actually good news. Maybe it's not on the ground. I sure hope not. Now we are looking at an elevated beam, and so I'm going to try to take a look at a different radar source right after I sample the other two tornado warnings. So tornado warnings do continue. Valparaiso, get in your safe place now. That's Valparaiso, Indiana. Supercell thunderstorm on top of you. And then the other one, LaPorte. That's from Westville to LaPorte. All three of these areas, again, being warned by tornadoes, warned by National Weather Service. These have been confirmed at times. Currently, we do not have confirmation of the South Bend storm, but what we know about the South Bend storm is that it's moving into central South Bend right now. Are you seeing any chatter on Twitter about South Bend? And I'm trying to do about a few things at the same time, but getting a lot of retweets on Twitter. Obviously, they're concerned. This is an ugly looking picture. And suddenly the storm, okay. All right, so this is going to go.
Someone is asking if they should leave their home if they're in South Bend.
Depends on your location. If you're out ahead of this enough, if you're in South Bend, you just need to shelter in place. If you're east of town, I think if you're northeast, Roseland to, if you're north like Roseland, I think it's going to miss you south, but I want you to shelter in place. If you're in South Bend, I don't think you have time. I think you have to shelter in place. But if you are to the east, Osceola, maybe Mishawaka, you got time to get away from it.
Where's Granger? Is that someone needs to know what they should do?
If you're in Granger, I want you to just hold on and shelter in place.
Okay.
But again, these areas further south that I'm most concerned with, that does include, Gullivoy Park. Guys, this thing is going to come very close to your location. Mishawaka, it's going to be very close to you as well. Nasty looking supercell thunderstorm. We've got 130 people on YouTube live. Thank you for being here. Help us share this video. It could save a life. Bad storms. We've been tracking a rash of tornado outbreaks in the last couple of weeks. Until now, we haven't had major metropolitan areas that have been in line. Joplin had a narrow miss a few nights ago. South Bend's not going to have that miss here, it looks like. So that's the concern. We want to make sure that we are focused on our friends. So South Bend, really awful looking storm on top of you. Let me get a new motion on this. This is storm relative motion is what I'm measuring. This will help us to assess the likelihood of this thing's doing business where it's on ground right now. Storm motion from marker. You'll watch how the image on the right changes a little bit. And we are looking at an elevation of 2,500 feet where we are seeing again those bright returns where there is a possible tornado that's going to be somewhere on the south side. It does look like that the circulation, it's going to go, I'm hoping it misses south, but it's going to be close because it looks like it's trying to lift north. South Bend again, major supercell thunderstorm. We do not have confirmation whether it's on the ground. We just know that this is a bad looking signature and you really want no part of this. Do you have that one sign up? Yeah, real quick. And let me make sure that We're in touch with the Weather Service. So that's going to be out of Northwestern. That's IWX. I want to get the latest information coming in from the National Weather Service chat. And I had a friend that used to work at that office. Pete Jajarian did.
No, you did.
It's the name escapes me. But we need to get in contact with that National Weather Service up there. Pull that. Let me go over. Hit
Which one?
Just hit IWX. And see if I can go ahead and get their chat up and running, like now.
Let's see. Is that here?
Scroll to the bottom of the screen. Possible tornado making its way into South Bend, Indiana. Right now, this is happening in real time. Again, that's a major population center where, you know, South Bend has over 100,000 people. We want to make sure that we're giving them every opportunity to know that this is coming, that it's basically on top of them right now. It's a, you know, it's a holiday. A lot of folks just want to be kicking back and just enjoying life and enjoying our freedoms. But you know, with a storm like this, you really, you've got to respect it. You've got to respect what's coming at you. And where are we at?
Find it.
Yeah, let me see. This is coming. There should be an address at the bottom. It's Syracuse, Indiana. It's not Syracuse though. I can picture the name of the town. In the meantime, I'll get this covered. Do you?
You have what you need here?
I do.
Okay.
We've been uncovering for a while, watching these storms as they've been moving through, again, south side of Chicago, dropping potential tornadoes within metro Chicago, and this has all been happening just over the last couple of hours, and several confirmed touchdowns associated with these storms. And right now, we're trying to get the warning out again for our friends out there in South Bend, Indiana, where you've got what appears to be a nasty, nasty looking supercell thunderstorm passing over the city of South Bend. This is the way it looks like on analyst radar. And the strongest rotation just south side of town, very close to what appears to be Gulliver Park. Gulliver Park. Again, that's moving into your territory as we speak. So I'm looking for information on the Weather Service coming out of the Weather Service, that is, for the one that's responsible for South Bend. Keep in mind what is due east of South Bend: Mishawaka, Elkhart. So this is going to be moving towards you guys. All right, so how many, where we stand, any comments coming in from our YouTube page? It's following the bypass, basically, that's coming in from WAGS, and that's the interstate system that runs around the south side of the city.
Hobart, Indiana. Is that close
Hobart was,
there?
yeah, Hobart, you were under a warning as well. That's
Okay.
from, again, a different storm, but there are multiple severe thunder or tornado warnings that remain in effect. So we don't want to forget about our friends out here near Hobart, but that's Valpo, Valparaiso. That's moving towards Westville. So there's actually two embedded supercells here with possible tornadoes from Valpo, and then you go north, and that's from Westville to LaPorte, two areas where we're looking at possibility of rotation and the possibility, again, those tornado warnings do continue. Our biggest concern, however, continues to be for our friends out there in South Bend.
Someone lives in a townhouse and doesn't know where to find shelter. What do I do?
If you're in the townhouse, it depends. If you've got time, you know, just move.
You're in
Mishawaka. You're in Mishawaka. If you're, yeah, you've got a little bit of time. Let's see. Let me put a track on this. I would honestly, I think it's close enough to you. They've got to act now. If they're going to do something, they need to drive east and away from the storm. East and away.
East
I would
and
go
away.
southeast, but I mean, if they're going to do that, they have to do that now.
Yeah.
If not, shelter in place. Go to the lowest floor of your townhome. It's okay. I would say no. I would shelter in place.
Shelter.
It's getting so close to where you are.
And then get to the lowest level in
lowest
the townhouse.
yes,
in a
go
closet,
to the center.
Interior closet.
That's right. Okay, so talking about tornado damage coming in from Cook County, that's Chicago, where you had a roof blown off the building on Park Avenue. They do believe that is tornado damage coming out of Metro Chicago right now. And
are there more tornadoes in Chicago, Illinois, or just storms?
Chicago proper, just thunderstorms. But we're monitoring in case they do decide to go severe on those. But right now they're not. So just thunderstorms. No tornadoes in Chicago right now.
Okay. What about Granger?
And we will go back over to that in just a moment. And I'm still looking for the chat room where, again, this is northern Indiana. So I'm working on getting my my NWS chat back up and running. We're getting it from Chicago. I've got Chicago covered, but it's South Bend. It's the reports from that one that we're not getting at the moment. Meanwhile, south and east, they do have, make that southwest, they do have new severe thunderstorm warnings that are being issued. For Chicago, no warnings, but plenty of thunderstorms. Okay, let's see. Anybody got any reports from the Fort Wayne area? Again, the storm is on top of Fort Wayne right now. Excuse me, South Bend.
So, would I be able to see any of that from here, or no? Because I'm not.
Well, you follow your Indiana feed. That's going to be your most active one.
Okay.
Or also tornado here.
Yeah.
Either one of those two.
Okay.
So we've been tracking this for, how long have we been on now? A while.
Let's see.
You know, we were just out with the family, just observing some Memorial Day services, and you know, I caught wind of a storm making its way into Chicago that definitely had strong enough rotation with it to produce a tornado. Got our attention. We got in here. We've been following that storm ever since. That's the storm you're looking at right now. So the one that made its way from the south side of Chicago, it's now in South Bend with possible tornadic winds. Tornado warning remains in effect for South Bend, and they've expanded that warning. Tornado warning remains in effect until 6:45 for northeastern St. Joseph, southwestern Cass, and southeastern Barron counties. It goes until 6:45. So that's 6:45 Eastern time. They're wording this a very dangerous storm that is going to be near Mishawaka at 6:25 now. It's on top of Mishawaka now. Granger, that's why I told the person not to leave. There just wasn't enough time.
Okay.
Granger and Osceola around 6:35. Edwardsburg at around 6:40. Weather Service out of Chicago chiming back in. Continuing the tornado warning for Lake and Porter counties, that goes until 5:45. And now there's a new severe thunderstorm warning for Ford and Iroquois counties in Illinois. Okay, so I've got a little bit of good news to pass along to you. Is that that storm looks like it's losing some of its characteristics to the one for South Bend. And it does look like South Bend proper, the circulation missed you to the south. Circulation's still there. It's approaching Mishawaka, but this is not, the storm does not look as well organized as it was. Hopefully this is a sign of weakening. Hopefully that we can go back to resuming again the rest of our holiday plans. in a short bit. But in the meantime, we'll ride this out with that, again, tornado warning remaining in effect for northern Indiana, Mishawaka, the storm on top of you, South Bend, storm on top of you. Now, while that one may be weakening some, I don't like the looks of the one that's developing to the south. All right, so new rotation beginning to generate. That's north of Hannah, approaching Kingsford Heights. That's a severe thunderstorm warning, but it's also a pretty nasty looking signature, so I'm not sure what they're going to do with that. And
here, storms are right upon us now here in South Bend, Indiana. Tornado warning, thunderstorm warning in place. People be safe and shelter in place.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do if you're still impacted by that storm. If you're nervous and you're like as far east as Elkhart, you could travel, but I think that storm's weakening. I think it's on the way out, and it should be. It should be moving into more and more stable air, which will help.
Okay, good.
Okay, so are we in Warsaw? Is that where this is at? Webster. It's Webster, Indiana. Okay. Let's see. New information from Chicago. They've issued a severe thunderstorm warning, and now they're tagging it with a tornado possible. That's for Iroquois County. Is that right? And now, okay, so now there's a new tornado. Is that a tornado warning? Now that's the one for Porter. So for Porter, that goes to 545. And they went ahead and they canceled the tornado warning for Lake County. So that much is good news. I'm going to see if I can't get into the Northern Indiana National Weather Service to see if they've got any damage reports in yet. And I'm not seeing that chat room for me. I don't know where it's at. All right, for those that are just joining, maybe you're new to the program, this program dedicated to, it's WxLIVE Now. We only launched it a week and a half ago, and it's dedicated to tracking high-end severe weather events, especially those that are impacting populated areas. My name is Jeremy Kappell. I'm a meteorologist. I've got 20 plus years broadcast forecasting experience. I'm a graduate of Purdue University, so these storms actually been very close to my alma mater. This is my wife and co-host, aka Lisa Ray. She also co-hosts with me another show that we've been doing for a while now on Facebook. It's called WxLIVE at 945, and that one is more focused on weather, particularly for Western New York and Rochester, New York. This one, more of a national outlet, so when we're seeing nasty storms, you know, region-wide or anywhere for that matter across the United States, we'll cover it with this program. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified next time we go on. If we're on, again, we're tracking something that's likely people won't want to see, but we are here to help get out the advanced warning. Again, warning that can sometimes save lives. We had the program on, what day was it? Was Joplin placed underneath the tornado warning last week?
Right.
Was that Wednesday night? I think it was. But you know, you were talking about a high-end storm. F4 went right over to the city of Golden City, and unfortunately produced 3 fatalities with that. Those fatalities could possibly be prevented if people have advanced notice. And we were telling them, look, if you're not below ground and you're in this town, you may not make it. And unfortunately, 3 people did not make it. So we're not getting the warning information out fast enough or to the right people. And so hopefully through this YouTube program, this YouTube channel, we can change that. We'll see. What you're looking at, of course, is just a real mess across northern Indiana now. And I do want to go back to our friends over in Chicago as new warnings are beginning to be issued. Not tornado warnings for Chicago. What we're looking at are strong thunderstorms, though. Severe thunderstorms into Illinois, south of Kankakee. Let me bring back up the actual Chicago radar. But as far as the number of warnings that we're seeing, they're less, which is good. But I'm still quite concerned with that storm. South Bend storm, hopefully moving in the right direction, but it's still a pretty nasty looking storm.
So yeah, it looks like Chicago, the tornado watch is issued until 9 p.m. for nearly all of Chicago.
All of Chicago until 9 p.m.
That's NBC Chicago.
And that's NBC, you say, that's reporting that. And then here's the actual watch. So that does cover all of central Illinois, Peoria included. It doesn't include Chicago, Kankakee, South Bend, Logansport, north of Indianapolis. My friends out there in Lafayette, Indiana, you're in that watch again until 9 p.m. Do we have any more? Are we seeing any reports of damage in
South Bend?
Near South Bend?
I'm not seeing a lot
That's
about
good.
South Bend, so
I'm gonna let's see what's showing up under our South Bend search.
Nate, let's see, looks like possibly the rotation on this storm may have fallen apart and South Bend
That's
might
what it looks
be
like.
in the clear.
I think that's right.
Not 100%, but hoping that's the case.
Me too. That's Ben, you say?
That is Nate.
Nate?
Power.
So that storm, yeah, it's losing a lot of its gusto. That's Mishawaka. That's over top right now. Mishawaka may have been spared. The tornado warning does continue. So you still want to, stay in your safe place just in case. But it does look like it's less organized than it was just a few moments ago.
And so that warning is until 6:45 p.m.
That's correct. So you've got about another 12 minutes to weather that warning.
And the tornado, so that's, I guess, considered St. Joseph County.
Yeah.
And Cass County?
Right.
Or Case?
Case County. Is it Case or is
Michigan?
it Cass? I don't remember. And then we're looking at a severe thunderstorm. It is showing rotation, a couple different locations. But we're getting over areas that's much more sparsely populated, so that's good. And what's coming in over here from the Weather Service? Okay, so that's Chicago that's concerned about maybe a little rotation developing on some storms that are moving towards Midway right now. They have not issued a warning on that, and I don't know if they plan to. I'm hoping that won't be the case. Let's check in with our friends over on the YouTube channel. Yeah, Jack on there, keeping people informed, trimming back the tornado watch. It's Jack Allen. Find him, follow him if you don't already. He's oftentimes a moderator on here, and
Yeah,
sometimes
he's been very busy tonight moderating. Thank you, Jack.
sometimes
Answering a lot of questions.
Yep, and he'll sometimes co-host this program as well. Okay, so Christopher in Maryville. Maryville, I'm hoping you are cleared. Yes, you are cleared. Valpo, Maryville, you've been cleared from the tornado warning. It does continue for Westville and LaPorte. New tornado warning just issued, unfortunately, for Elkhart, So the Weather Service is still very concerned with this storm. So we'll ride it out longer together. Elkhart, Indiana, tornado warning issued for you. And I'm going to still try to get into that chat room. Northern Indiana. If you guys know what it's called, and I know.
So what is the? Do you need me to go back on?
I finally got it.
Find it.
I finally got it.
Which one was it?
It's Northern Indiana. There's a bazillion chats.
I'm sure.
I was looking for the town that was in Webster, the town that was close to Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're in here now. Tornado warning just issued for Cass. I think it's Cass. Elkhart, St. Joseph, Indiana. That goes until 7 p.m. Looking back up. Getting reports over the ham radio. This was coming in about 13 minutes ago. And a wall cloud with rotation was reported over Ash Road. Not exactly sure where though. This was a relay, not confirmed. I don't see damage reports coming into South Bend. That, my friend, may be very good news, because if we're not getting damage reports now, then maybe we didn't get the damage. It looked like the potential was there for us, so that's good. Very good. Still watching those storms again, further east showing some rotation, but they're covering it with a severe. Let's get that severe thunderstorm warning. Who is that for? That is for southwestern St. Joseph, northeastern Stark, northwestern Marshall, and central LaPorte County. That goes until 7 p.m. That is a severe thunderstorm warning, but for a storm that is rotating. Now taking a look at the broader picture, going back to our friends out there in eastern Illinois, including Chicago, you've got a lot of thunderstorm activity on top of you. And unfortunately, there is more development for that storm south of Kankakee. Chicago, these are strong thunderstorms, not severe right now. So we really need to stick with this until all this heads through Chicago. Chicago, we're watching. We've got your back. We're watching it for you. But I don't think that's as concerning as what's happening further south. Kankakee, for instance, this is heading towards the state line. Let me get that county information on this. So a number of supercell thunderstorms that we're following. The current storm making its way into Elkhart, Indiana with possible rotation. Tornado warning for Elkhart. Same storm that went through South Bend. Same storm that originated in South Chicago. All right, if you guys haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do so. Dedicated to tracking severe weather, particularly high end. And the whole purpose of this show is to provide advanced warning to help with the protection of property and possibly save lives. So it's a big deal. So you can help us do that. Hit subscribe, hit notify if you haven't already. If you haven't shared this video, please do so, because there's still the possibility of damaging tornadoes and still moving through some pretty populated areas. So the one storm I want to talk about moving through portions of west or east central Illinois, that is north central Ford County and northern Iroquois County. That warning goes until 7:15 Eastern, 6:15 Central. This is a storm that is showing rotation with it, so it's got some characteristics that we want to look out for. I'm going to go back to Chicago. I'm going to go out of their radar site. That's KLOT. Give me a moment while that loads. Oh, there's the actual one that we were looking for. So multiple supercell type of thunderstorms. New tornado warning issued, and it's a big one. New tornado warnings issued, again, northern Indiana. Let me get my zoom feature on here. And that's what I was afraid of, that storm to the south. It's picking up intensity near Kingsford Heights, Walkerton. Again, we have to look out. Those kids, what are they doing in there?
Well, I have them doing laundry.
Good. We need clean clothes.
I'm gonna go check on him real quick.
Okay. Okay, so we're into Chicago. I'm going to go right back to the other warning coming up in just a moment. I did want to take a look at Chicago. We've got convection moving in. Convection, fancy word for thunderstorms. And there is some circulation with some of these, but they're not standalone. These are all kind of marching in together. So Chicago, this is it. This will bring an end to your severe threat, I believe, once this line of thunderstorms moves through. And Chicago, you're going to see this it's moving through in the next 15 to 20 minutes. It should be downtown Chicago. Again, if you're going to get severe weather, it's going to happen with this line. Further south, where we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect, that's for a storm that is rotating, but it looks better from this perspective than it did from where I was looking at it earlier. Going to go back to northern Indiana, and we'll track these storms for you. Again, new tornado warning issued. I want to get that warning information to you right now. So this is a tornado warning in effect for southwestern St. Joseph, northeastern Stark, northwestern Marshall, central LaPorte County in northwestern Indiana. That goes until 7:30. Looking at the rotation in there, rotation is there. Honestly, it's not the greatest signature that I've seen so far today, but it's a storm we'll watch. We've got about 102 people on here. We're going to watch this for just a little while longer as these storms, again, strong thunderstorms making their way into Chicago at this hour. Two storms that are being tornado warned. We want to point out Elkhart, Indiana. You're next in line. This is for the storm that moved through South Bend a little while earlier. This storm originally warned. What time did we go on? A while ago, about 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock Eastern, whatever it was. But that same storm has been marching all the way across northern Indiana. Again, rotation is it's not overly impressive, but enough to trigger the warning by the National Weather Service. So Elkhart, just take your precautions. This is a storm just worth watching. Let the warning expire, and then you can go back to whatever your plans were. Kingsford Heights, that tornado warning continues for you towards Wakertown. But again, I'm not overwhelmed. New data coming in, so we'll see if anything happens with this, if the Weather Service decides to up the wording, or we'll see how they feel about this. I am in communication with the National Weather Service out of both northern Indiana and Chicago. So let's see what the latest information for them is. They continue with the warning. Elkhart is underneath a tornado warning. Okay, now this is a little disturbing. So the tornado warning for Kingsford Heights, this just kind of ramped up. So that new radar data came in, and it's popping a little bit. So we want to watch the circulation. We've got air that's rushing towards the radar site right now. Actually, that's rushing away from the radar site, I believe. Where's it? Make sure I'm on the correct radar. Should be out of North Webster. It is North Webster. Oh, this is air that's rushing away from the radar right now at about 77 miles per hour, wrapping back around at only about 15 or 20. Either way, you still have some shear up there at around 90 mile per hour effective shear. That's worth watching. Okay, we're going to place a marker and get new storm relative motion on here for you. And you'll notice as I lay this marker down how it changes the image on the right. Even if it's just a little bit, it sharpens it. So this storm, I'm going to look for your NROTS. Normalized rotation is showing quite a bit. Again, this is located, and I need to get some road names on here. Located to the southeast of Kingsford Heights, I should say. Moving towards Walkerton. Walkerton, you could be in line for this. We'll take a look at it and see if there's any potential of debris being lofted. Placing a marker, looking at what we call correlation coefficient, and I am not seeing a TDS, which is good. We're going to go back over to Chicago next, where again, line of strong thunderstorms entering Chicago Metro. Should be in downtown Chicago here within 20, I would say 15 to maybe 20 minutes. This is what that looks like. We take any other questions or comments that we have on here. Who do we have on the stream currently? I've got SMS. I hope everyone that left the stream is okay. Thank you, and hopefully so. Yeah, they were blaring, but the rotation is south of us. Okay, so that was that Elkhart that you're in? Where are you at? That's my friend Jack Allen doing a lot of the moderating on here, so thanks for your efforts tonight, Jack, as always. Big time contributor to this show. Getting into Chicago again. Just want to look at some of the returns. This is not the Chicago radar, however. I just wanted to show you that you're getting the thunderstorms from Oak Forest, where there could have been a touchdown earlier, very close to there. Moving into Chicago proper. Make your way east and south. We've got two storms with enough rotation to prompt the National Weather Service to issue warnings. Elkhart, you're underneath that warning officially, but I'll be honest if I say that I'm underwhelmed by the amount of rotation. Stronger rotation noted with the storm down here into north central Indiana. But again, this is going over an area that's highly unpopulated, but possible tornadoes for both of these. Latest tornado warning information. The Elkhart storm should be expiring at the top of the hour. That goes until 7 p.m. Eastern time. So that's northeastern St. Joseph, south central Cass County, northwestern Elkhart County. And then the other one, that warning does include Walkerton. That is for southwestern St. Joseph, northeastern Stark, northwestern Marshall, and central LaPorte counties. That goes until 7:30. So they're going to roll with that one for a while. We've been watching it kind of flaring up here. Stronger rotation noted now, but it's also merging. It's in the middle of merging with additional cells around it, which could interfere with its circulation. Could also temporarily strengthen it as well. So we'll watch as it merges again with more cells coming in from the south. And today is what we would consider an enhanced risk day, which is, you know, it's not the high end when it comes to Storm Prediction Center scales, but it's enough to keep people's attention. And it's days like this on these enhanced risk days that sometimes you can get big time surprises. So let's go on over back to the watch information. They trimmed out all of western Illinois out of it. That's good. Very good. So it looks like in that regard we are improving. So the watch is for all the area in yellow that you see, kind of that waving yellow, and then so this goes until 9 o'clock officially. But you know, once you see these storms move through, now we're getting past peak heating a little bit. We should see a downtick in the severity for most areas. Okay, National Weather Service out of Chicago just chimed in about the storm that's over northern Iroquois County, saying that it is showing a little more rotation with it. It's worth watching for the now. Thanks, Jack, for that. So going back over to current radar, again, the watch goes until 9. We're not going to stick with this until 9. In fact, you know, as the storms wind down, we will wind down as well, wind down this programming. So that's the idea. And I think we're getting closer to that. I don't want to let some of these storms go, and especially since Chicago's still actually in the middle of it, I want to stick with them just a little bit longer. I'm going to pull up that Chicago radar in just a moment. This is a look at the actual Storm Prediction Center and their outlook for the rest of tonight. And technically, they still have the entire area under that enhanced risk. This is tonight. Also enhanced risk out here north and east of Denver, where there has been some tornadic activity, I know. From northeast of Denver, southeast of Cheyenne to near North Platte. You're watching this stuff tonight. Now tomorrow, the severe threat does shift. Let me pull up your day 2. So this is your day 2, and this could be, you know, for the central U.S., tomorrow could be a bad day from Kansas City to Oklahoma City. I think there's a pretty good chance they upgrade this area to moderate. So my friends back home, I should say my former home, in northeastern Kansas, know that we're going to be watching this very closely. So Topeka, Emporia, Kansas City, St. Joseph, down here for Coffeyville, Kansas, Wichita, Tulsa. We'll be watching this very carefully into the day tomorrow. Again, conditions warrant, we'll be back on with another live program. Let me get you updated with the current tornado warnings, and then we'll decide what we'll do with this program for the rest of the night. As Jack was hoping you guys would hit the bell and hit the subscribe. Well, actually, I think you need to hit the subscribe and then you hit the bell. That way you know next time we come on. And thank you for being a part of this program here tonight. You know, this is my passion. This is what I'm in this stuff for. It's tracking severe weather, giving you a non-hyped forecast. We want to shoot you down the middle. You'll know it. Well, if you watch me, the more you watch me, you'll get to know. You know, if the weather's serious, you're going to know. But if it's not, I'm also going to tell you, look, we're just watching. Right now, I think we're ticking down in the seriousness of this particular event. Doesn't mean you can't have tornadoes. You need to take your tornado warning seriously. But I'm just not seeing the type of rotation that's going to be, you know, that's it's all that alarming. And in fact, I think they let the tornado warning go for Elkhart. Good. I'm going to monitor the storm a little while longer, but for Walkerton. But again, we're seeing it merge with these storms to the south, and that can disrupt the circulation. I'm hoping that's what we're seeing. And I agree. National Weather Service says, look, once these storms are over with for Chicago, that severe threat will basically have ended. And I think that's what we're looking at. So if you live in Chicago, I think this is coming down to the end of it for you. You got some rain building in. I'll show one more radar update for the city of Chicago, and then you know, I think you're looking fine for the rest of your evening. Again, the severe threat at least will be coming to an end for Chicago soon. Still looking at a number of tornado warnings. Make that just the one tornado warning now. Excuse me, I misspoke. But let's come on into Chicago and take a look at their weather conditions. As I expected, they'd be seeing the worst of it with thunderstorms, and the city is seeing plenty of thunderstorms right now, but your severe threat essentially is coming to an end now with these storms. So for my friends in Chicago, it's going to rain and rain heavy for a while, but once this moves through, life will be a lot better for you. But from that 94 corridor all the way south to about Tinley Park, these storms will bring an end to your severe risk. Further east, we are also seeing improvements across northern Indiana. Again, Elkhart, they've allowed that to expire. Storms across central, north central Indiana, they're strong, but I think the severe potential with them is going down as well. All right. with that being said, we've got about 90 people on here. I've got a new subscription from Daniel Bashner. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate that. Well, we'll be back live as conditions warrant. I am concerned about tomorrow's setup, something we'll want to watch pretty closely across the central United States. Again, maybe another plains outbreak tomorrow. We'll see how things come together. I think tomorrow's a moderate risk day. That's about it. Guys, thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys being part of this program. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and the notification bell for next time that we pop on. I'm going to let this one go, though. Again, the severe threat seems to be diminishing to the point where we'll just kind of watch it. If I need to get back on, I will. I don't plan to. But that's about it. Again, I'm meteorologist Jeremy Kappell. Thank you so much for being here, being part of the program tonight. Hopefully you guys will come back for another one next time. And we're always looking for suggestions. So shoot me a note. You can find me, by the way, on all the social medias. Hopefully you are subscribed and follow me on YouTube. Send me a message if you have an idea for the show or maybe a way that I can make it better. You can also find me on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram. Last name is spelled Kappell. It's with a K. Kappell. And you can also just type in WxLIVE now. That'll take you to my website, or KappellWeather.com. That's Kappell with a K, 2 P's, 2 L's. That's it. Thank you for being here. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful finish to your Memorial Day. Remember why we celebrate this day, for all those that made the sacrifice for us to have the liberties and the rights that we do in this great country. And yes, America is still great. Let's keep it that way. And again, I'll be back if we have to. But for now, we'll bring this program to a close. You guys have a blessed evening, and we'll talk to you again soon.